Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Financial Griot. We are out here. I won't tell you what episode because we ourselves don't really know. So it's just we're gonna wing it. So even if I told you, it's gonna be a lie. So I hope that you guys are having a great day, evening, whatever time you're listening to. And I'm gonna just pass on to my friendly co-hosts. Hopefully they're friendly today. Today's Sunday, so hopefully they can, maybe they had some church in them before. I doubt it because they're just shaking their heads like, nope. I ain't do nothing. Didn't say God, thank you. None of that. So Atlanta, Lawrence, what's up? What's going on?
I just want to place out there. I thank God every morning before my foot hit the ground. So let's make that clear.
Oh, amen.
Every morning.
Amen.
Atlanta, I knew Atlanta was gonna come with some church.
Every morning. I thank God.
Deep down, I knew it.
I know
about other heathens.
We don't know about others.
I know about others. Hey, I thank God every day before my foot touched the ground. I open my eyes. I thank God, and throughout the day, I thank God for small things. I'm forever grateful. So in advance, grateful.
Woo.
In advance, I'm grateful for things to come, things to pursue, and things that are presently here. Just saying. I'm not a heathen like the one down there.
Whoa. There's these shots being fired. I'm
going to introduce myself
I, for one, thank God and am grateful the night before. See, the night before.
You're just trying to up me.
You can't just go into the day, in the day, right? I'm actually before the day because that's the way I think.
Okay.
PWI for life. My name is Lawrence Delva Gonzalez. I'm here with Lovely in Atlanta. We're the Financial Griot. We talk about finances, stories. We share what we've seen. We typically have these conversations throughout the week anyway. So now we started bringing them to you in podcast form. It is an opportunity to really kind of delve into what we think. Besides, like how many characters are tweets now? Like 14 characters. 140 characters. We try to go a little bit deeper with the subject matter. We talk about it, and sometimes we get a little dirty. Sometimes it gets a little bit toxic here and there, but most of the time it's coming from a great space. And I believe it's going to be very beneficial for you to listen to us. So yes, thank you for being here. I'll pitch it back to you, Lovely.
All right. So today we were supposed to have this conversation. So I'll just kind of start it from the top. That this is based off like a YouTube video that I believe Atlanta shared with our group, right? And so we'll just get into it. So I'm gonna paint a wide brush and just not say Black women luxury, but say Black luxury. And we're gonna just talk about it from that context, because sometimes we make it seem like only Black women have these luxury lifestyles, but some of the fellas, I've seen some of y'all sneakers collections, cars, you guys have your own vices as well. So I'm not gonna paint that wide brush, okay?
Hey. Do not come for the guys out here. Like, the women did not post an entire video about themselves, like the entire YouTube page about themselves in Black travel and Black luxury. So let's keep it 100 and let's keep it on the ladies. I'm not gonna let y'all just run up on these guys.
I just want to give a little bit of context as well. So the video that I share is a TikTok video compilation of other TikTokers, I guess, or influencers. I don't know who they are, maybe random people, I'm not sure. But specifically it's for Black luxury travel. So they're showing like different videos of Black women traveling in luxury, different countries, different places, eating in luxury, the finest restaurants. So I shared that with the group, and let's say we had different perspectives on this. So I'm happy, Lovely, that you are not only just identified as Black women travel, but in general, just Black luxury travel, right? Because we're seeing both vices from women and men. So there's that
out there for some of us that want to just talk about the ladies. No, that gave us some context, but it's not the full story, and we're not gonna do, some of it. We got to do the whole thing. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up, I kind of want to put this out there. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with your money. Let me start there. Whatever you as an individual person want to do, no one's here telling you what you should or cannot do. The context that we want to talk about is, as a collective, where is an intersection between balance? Because we've each have our own category of what luxury is defined as. I think as a community, though, there has been this notion that my luxury has to look the same way as yours. So if I'm not in Louis, or I don't have a Porsche, I don't have these things, then, oh, you're not living in luxury. But to me, being able to be in a place of peace, having time to spend with family, being like, for example, I was able to make sure my siblings were able to come here to surprise my mom from Haiti and make sure that they're taken care of, making sure that, hey, the things were paid for. That to me was luxury, right? I didn't have to necessarily take them out to Paris, but I did what I wanted to do to give them an intimate moment for my mom. To me, for me, that's luxury. But somebody might look into that and be like, okay, that you're not doing the most. But for me, that is doing the most, because I'm redefining what luxury means to me. I think we're painting too much of a wide brush on luxury, and it has to look like that. And I think a lot of people, and I could be wrong, are having these curated experiences that look beautiful, but oftentimes they're coming back to a bunch of debt, perceiving a life that's not necessarily true, to please other people. So my question is to the listeners, like, are some of the things that you're seeing online, if you couldn't post it, if you couldn't share those moments, would you still do it? That might be a question that we want to explore, but I really want to set the tone. Like, no one's gonna, it's up to you, it's your pockets. But what we're trying to do is think about the collective and as a community, and kind of dismantle some things that we think like all Black people do, when we are not monolithic. We are different, we are diverse. And so I just want to get your thoughts on it. I just wanted to kind of make those disclaimers early on, because then you're going to come here, oh, they're out here judging us, nah, do you? But we're analyzing the situation through our own lenses and perspective, because we want to see a community that's not only financially wealthy from the sense of how it looks, but really, we really are wealthy on multi different levels. So I'll set that tone. I'm gonna let you and Lawrence talk about your perspective. We're going to challenge some thoughts, and let's get this show on the road.
I will say, before Lawrence bring down the hammer on luxury travel, I like the video. Can I talk, sir? Please, before you start, can I? Okay, I appreciate it, LG. So I will say, I really enjoyed the video. I mean, that's why I share it with you guys. I really enjoyed the compilation of videos of women in different spaces and enjoying luxury in their experience, right? I liked it a lot. The Fendi, the Paris, like Switzerland, like I love it. I love the style. I think Black people in general got such a unique and eclectic style. If that may in tune with luxury, and that's okay. So I like when people share their experiences. It's so cool, and traveling is really cool. But I will say too, in retrospect of the luxury travel, is what is influencing others to think that, like you mentioned, it's a general wide paintbrush to say like this is luxury, where you have to spend so much money, have to wine and dine in these expensive restaurants. And that's not always the case. I don't want people kind of paintbrush their lives and, create this mass amount of debt or whatever to kind of fulfill this not realistic life. It's not realistic for the average person, is what I'm saying. But also in context, we don't know these people on an individual basis too. We don't know like what their pockets are. We don't know what they do for a living. It was one video I seen last night where at the end of the video, of the compilation video, she mentioned that she liked to share her luxury in her traveling and whatnot, because she went from, a single mother who had her at, I think, 14, 15 or something like that, and going from the projects, the hood, and she was able to get a scholarship at one of the high Ivy Leagues, right? And start working for Google as a software developer. So she enjoys luxury because she worked her ass off for it, right? So we understand that context, but we don't know everyone else, individual financial backing for these travels. But it's also another thing to put out is that on a holistic scale, why can't Black people share their travels as well, where we only, at one point, we only see on an influence level, it was mainly, non-Black people. So it's really cool to see other people experiences in luxury, because you have the nomads, you have the digital nomads, you have like different spheres of luxury and travel. Some people just experience and do things a little bit differently, but it's just, for me, again, is I don't want people to paintbrush it, like you mentioned, on a generalization of this how Black luxury or luxury in general should be, which it should not be the case. It's the influence part that I think will impact younger generations, because we all travel, we're privileged to travel and we have the finance to do so. But our luxury and our definition of luxury is a little bit different, because we have life experiences, and the scope of what we actually value is a little bit different too. But it really gets to me when I'm reading comments. I love it goes down in the comments, right? It goes down to the comments. I'm reading the comments and I'm seeing, like, keep them coming. Like, this is what I want, and I'm just getting the idea of, what does it take for younger generation to see that, behind the pictures, behind the wine and dining, expensive, brands, what's the drawback to that too? Like, what are you actually, taking back from what you're trying to accomplish, just to, like you mentioned, curate this, expectation of luxury. And that's what gets to me, because some people really take this as, the Holy Bible to the grave when they see all these things. So it's the influence part that I question. Go ahead, LG. We waiting for your.
You had to really. I went on a long trying to go around ways of saying it, but
here we go.
First, hey, I be taking notes. I don't just sit there and just kind of let y'all ride, whatever. I listen to it and I take the notes. The notes. First and foremost, the first thing I do, based off the claims that this is not necessarily a woman-centric thing. And you're right, it's not just women. There are some guys in it, but if you Google it right now, Black luxury travel, you'll see a lot more visual, captures by the women. That's really what's going on. That's just
more women than men. I'm just saying.
There's always been more women than men. There's always been that as well. But when they think about the world as a socialist construct, or I guess a society itself, women have always defined what society is. Like, as far as what is the luxury. It's right. Not the guys that's defining exactly what the luxury is. Like, we look at the diamond, we're like, whatever. Women look at the diamond, it's like, blood or not, I'm with it. Like, I was like, blood diamond, I'm with that sucker. I don't care if the blood is still scraped off the top. As long as I get a couple carats more, I'm with it. So there's always been this interpretation that, at least from my perspective, a guy, that women define what clothes, like what's the cool clothes is, what's the status, what's the location you got to go to. Like, sometimes when you look at the restaurants that people pick, or even like the destination that everybody's traveling to, the destination du jour, I would say you see everybody going there because women are defining what is the cool thing to do. It's about who you are, who you're with, and all this stuff around that. And it's not really the guys defining exactly how that actually lays out. Additionally, it wasn't until, and we had a conversation about that, it wasn't until like the later 1980s going to the 90s that globalism actually took shape. And there's a lot of people to go beyond just living in their country and traveling their country to start going abroad a lot more. Before then, before the 80s, people did travel, but not at the rate that we're seeing today, based off the opportunity that people are saying, well, I don't have to just stay in America to kind of travel around. I could go elsewhere. I could go all these other locations, because I'm seeing more and more photos. I'm seeing more and more people like me are doing the same thing. So we are influencing each other to do these Black travels. Additionally, well, for me, when I'm looking at all these women, I think more than half of them are single.
I
let you cook. I let you be in the kitchen. I let you be in the kitchen. Hey, you were in the kitchen. I didn't say anything. I was on mute.
All right, go ahead.
I was on mute.
All right, I'm going on mute. I'm going on mute.
I did my mute thing. So, okay. I think a lot of them are single, and we've been spreading interesting idea about life and what it takes to really support a woman. So sometimes even there's videos online. There's like a British group of young girls about like 16, 15, and they're telling their counterparts, Black British young guys, that, hey, if you don't have the bag, you're not traveling, you're not flying me around, then therefore you're not worth anything. Like they're literally defining based off of what they see on social media as to how everybody should live. And I think that's problematic. That's bad. It is a construct of purposeless living, and it doesn't build any communities. It doesn't build any families. All it does is just a bunch of very self-indulgent people, maybe with an addiction, because that's really what it ends up being as well, because they're doing it all the time, buying all the dresses, all the outfits, and just to go somewhere, just take some photos, just to get these likes. It ends up just being an addiction. And I think that's problematic. And I'm gonna land my plane right there. I'm just gonna scoot the plane down, landing gear. I'm gonna rock out. Hey, I said what I had to say.
Okay, it wasn't that bad.
See, yeah, it's almost so bad.
Yeah, it's almost in agreement with what I was mentioned earlier about the influence, because I did see that video. One of somebody was commenting on that video with the British, the young girls and the young guys on the other side, and they're talking whatnot. So we're seeing the impact of the influence of people think that you have to be in your bag. A man have to have all these things at 18 years old. Like,
no, it was even 18, 17. Those kids are looking around like I'm at the crib at home.
Like we should have all these things, and it's so unfair. It's so unfair, right? And I also think that for women to exclude a guy simply because they don't have it all together at such a young age is very problematic. And it's also is that lack of social awareness. Like what are we doing to think that someone should have it all together 18, 19? Like that doesn't make any sense at all. And it's almost like we're influencing each other, not noticing like, we are counteracting of building community, we're just tearing it apart.
I'm gonna add something to that. It's called the hedonic treadmill. The idea that you kind of keep going for the next thing, for that high, and when you get to that high point, you're only gonna go down. So it's kind of like buying that brand new car, and you're the first time you bought that Mercedes or whatever it is, you're like, man, I'm balling. People see me, and about 2 weeks later, it's just a damn car. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A month later, it's just your damn car. And a year or two later, you're like, man, I still have this damn car. And eventually what you're seeing is a lot of people based on a certain level of like societal addiction, that they're chasing the next and the next thing. And I think that's part of the problematic nature of the first world that we live in. The certain level of true entitlement is like we can never be satiated. We can never really be happy. And those people that are traveling, even though they're making money, they're influencers, they're living their life, and it should be fine. I would swear to you, like you go talk to them on a one-on-one basis, minus some makeup, minus all of that stuff, and you'll find a lot of people just like they're just shells of themselves searching for the next high.
I think it's interesting that you guys mentioned it in the terms of like addiction, because it is, right? The likes are addicting. The position of it gives you affirmation. I think we were talking about that on our recent Clubhouse, and I'm going to just plug in Clubhouse on the podcast. Like if you're not on our First Generation Wealth Builders network on Clubhouse, instead of listening to trash, I call it. You can have productive.
Dang, I feel bad because I feel like I'm impacting Lovely. She's getting more and more ratchet every day.
You see it.
I feel that I'm a problem.
She is showing like
toxic Lawrence.
PC, like no more PC. Like this is what it is.
I feel like I'm a toxic. Yeah. I think I'm a toxic influence out here. I'm calling myself out. I'm like, man. Every time I hear her, she's like, "What the hell? Oh, you do whatever you want." Like, whoa.
She went off last Saturday too. I noticed that.
I'm sorry. My frustrations have been high, guys. I've really been trying to keep it, my typical consultant. I have different hats that I wear, and man, Broward County has been coming out of me because I'm just tired, tired of just people just crazy. But anyways, guys, on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find us having productive conversations on Clubhouse. So just let you know that I'll plug it into the show links where you can just go ahead and get access to be part of the club. All right, commercial done. So essentially, there's a lot of addiction, and I manage people that are in these type of worlds. And sometimes what ends up happening is the addiction and the high of being esteemed and the value, like the self-value and the self-esteem have been linked together. Like literally just like this, linked together. And so if I'm not getting more likes, if I'm not being more highs, I don't feel like I'm valuable. And that's why I started the conversation with the question, if no one would see this, would you still do it? Would you do it the way you're doing it? Would you still spend the money? Would you still show up? Or are sometimes we're creating a movie, right? Like YouTube is cool, but we also have to understand there's two sides, right? There's the production side of it, there's a consumer side of it. And a lot of times we don't understand, like, I knew that Bad Boys, I knew like Will Smith wasn't a cop. It's like me coming to Will Smith, like, help me, like, can you help me solve this murder case? And he's gonna be looking at me like, what? I'm not a cop. And so reason why I'm bringing those two ideologies together is there's a part of people that really do gain self-esteem and self-validation through posting these things and curating a life that may not be their own. And when we talk about financial wellness, I had to ask myself a question, maybe 5 years ago. And I said to myself, Lovely, you can gain a lot. You can go to the highest mountain of, power, access, all these things. But if you go to sleep at night and you're not comfortable with who you are and you're not at peace, then your life is not truly successful. I gauge where my life is by how I go to sleep. I don't go to sleep with no problems. I just be, all right, time to KO. I wake up, like when I wake up, I'm excited about life. I'm excited about what I'm trying to do. And it does not mean that things are always easy. It's just that because I really see the growth in myself and I see the purpose. And so if tomorrow I'm not at the Chaldees, I'm not at, Switzerland every single weekend, I'm fine because I know that, hey, I plan to go do these city tours or doing these different things, but I'm not doing it because, everyone else is doing it. I'm truly doing it because this is what I desire. I love history. I love learning about these different things. And so for me, I'm giving it meaning, and I want to teach my daughters, my sons, and even people in the community, you have to start really analyzing every time you swipe your card. Are you swiping it to be liked by people that don't even like you? Like, why? Why are you doing it? The why matters, even in the context of Black luxury, because I think sometimes we look at the person, well, white people are doing it and they're doing all this stuff, but who made them the meter for you to judge your life against? Do it because that's what you want to do, not because you see another culture doing it and assuming because they're doing it that everything is good. Like, they're always on private jets. They're doing these things. Okay.
But it's not all of them, though. It's always a very small selection of people doing these type of things, but people are internalizing like it's an entire group, but it's not.
Exactly.
You go to Middle America right now, you'll never find this type of stuff. You won't even find people talking about brunch, in Middle America, like Tennessee and all that stuff like that. I said what I said. I said what I said. I said what I said. Did I move on? Did I not move on from it? Okay. And I'm actually watching while you're talking. I'm watching the video that a compilation or multiple compilations now. There's not just one channel popping up. There's other channels popping up showcasing Black women in luxury TikTok compilations. And 9 times out of 10, these are people, they're by themselves. They're taking these type of snapshots by themselves. They're, buying expensive food.
How we know?
Expensive clothes. No, I'm just okay.
I used to be taking photos with someone else there.
Yeah. But there's a lot of, even if that is true, then there's not a togetherness element anymore. There's really nothing. How do we know? Are you with whoever that was that you were in that travel with?
Yeah,
Are you still with them? Are you still with them right now?
Why you gotta do all
That's
that?
exactly what I'm trying to say. Like it's flawed.
That was years ago. Why you gotta bring that up?
I called out the flaw in the design. You're getting fluid out, but it's all good. But I'm just saying, that when you look at these type of things and scenarios and people are spending themselves into these oblivion moments, it's like what Lovely said, for what? Is it just to kind of get liked? Is it just to kind of get, fill that void? Maybe you never felt like people loved you or noticed you when you were a kid. And that's fine. And that happens. That's part of who we are. Maybe you need therapy for that. But I just question almost the cyclical nature of it. Yeah, you could travel. I don't care if you want to travel for luxury. It's just like, the frequency in 2019, people were going almost like every 3 months. They were like blowing hey, whatever cash they had, I'm gonna blow it. And it's just like there's no saving, there's no retirement, there's no purchasing a home, there's no building anything. It was just more, I got to go out there so I could take a photo. You know, I saw people that go out there, come in with their outfits, right? Pay the extra money, extra baggage fees to get the outfits to take the photos, and that was it. It wasn't to really experience the place. And I get it, not everybody wants to do that. But if it's just for that and to fly back and to curate your life for the next couple of months and for you to be broke at home, that's a problem. And we got to talk about it.
Do we think that we're a little bit more harsh as you know, Black individuals? Do you think we are a little bit more harsh on our race for doing so?
No,
or
well, for me, I feel as if that it's not even necessarily only about being harsh. I can't speak. We always say that we're Haitian, right?
Right.
Americans. I can't talk about Susie because I don't know what Susie got going on her home. What I do know is, as a collective of people, these are the statistics. These are the things that we say are problematic, right? We talk about how we don't have enough money. We talk about how we don't have capital. And there's like systematic things that contribute to these things, but it's not the only factor. And so for me, it's just like, that's why I mentioned that in the beginning of the podcast episode, is that you can do whatever, but in the same light of doing whatever, then you can't inversely complain that, well, I don't have cash flow to feed my family. I don't have cash flow to do other things. You can't have best of both worlds. You can't complain about the problem, right? But then doing things that adversely affect us as a community, as a collective, and teaching our daughters and sons, like, you can wish all you want. You can wish to have the big home. You can wish to have the car, but understand that life is more about who you are than what you do. Like, you can continue to try to possess more things. And this is like me I'm a believer, this is my faith. Like, sometimes in possession of more great things, we're losing the possession of a peaceful home. We're losing the possession of having ability to be with people in relationship because of who they are and their character. But when we're bearing people off of 6 figures income and saying, well, this guy hasn't met me, he can't fly me out. Like, there was this young lady on Instagram, her boyfriend, she has a clothing line. He went ahead and gifted her $100,000 to literally start the plus size thing, which is cool. That's amazing, great. But my problem is when people get on the comments and says, well, if he's not coming with this energy, I don't need him. That's problematic as a community. It's cool that that's what they did in their relationship, but to think that that's again, painting this brush, like, if a brother,
it's a standard, right?
Yeah, is not able to do that, and maybe he has 1,000, he gives you, well, you're looking at that 1,000 like, because so-and-so gave her, and then now the guy sometimes, because of, hey, I want to be with a woman, what do I now have to sacrifice? Is it my character? Is it my integrity to get fast money to fulfill somebody's needs so that I could feel love? That becomes problematic as a community.
You know, something that for me on a personal level in DC, I think when I first got here, and it's a story I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard before, but I was invited to go to this restaurant and I didn't really want to go. I didn't have the money. I just had enough room in the credit card to actually maybe cover some stuff there. But ultimately, I didn't have any cash at the time. I just got to DC. I was paying for the home. I did all of that. I didn't even have enough to kind of get the heater kind of repaired. That's just how bad it was. It was in dead of winter. So we went to this restaurant and I just wanted to get and the person said, no, I'll pay for it. Just don't worry about it. It's not on me. So I'm like, all right, cool. As they're kind of rocking out, they're getting their appetizers. I forget what they call it. The tapas. Yeah, that's like a fad that came in. Yeah. They're getting their tapas. They're getting all types of stuff, drinks, dessert. And I'm sitting there like, I got my one drink and maybe one tapa or something like that. And at one point they say, hey, let's split the tab. like evenly. Like, I didn't do the even level damage that y'all guys did. So I ended up paying, I believe it was like $100 or something and I was still hungry at the end of the night, purely hungry at the end of the night. I paid $100 for something I didn't think that was even worth the cost, and I didn't even have the money to begin with, right? On top of that, I think in total, the entire sit-in, I forget what it was, but it could have been like $600 in total with the tip and all that good stuff. It was $600 tab. And I'm looking around the table. It's like all these people from South Florida, when we know that our parents are out there working at, Walmart, working in Winn-Dixie, working whatever, working McDonald's. Like we're from that stock of people that didn't really have a lot of luxury. They didn't go out as much. If they went out, it would be like Denny's, IHOP. That was going out.
KFC. That's
you know what I mean.
Mom
Like that was
KFC.
going out. Fridays was like you're pushing the limit there. Like Red Lobster was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So now I'm sitting around like these people, and I think to myself, like we just blew over a good $600, and for what? For food that didn't really fill us, for companionship that we didn't really have, and for purpose that was never really fulfilled. All to kind of just do it because it was the lifestyle, the culture. And when I'm looking at these videos and I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure a lot of these people's parents are out here struggling in these streets, right?
But you take accountability in yourself as well for not declining, knowing where you were.
No. Well, no, I didn't. When I got there, I thought, hey, I'm just gonna if once she said she's gonna pay. Remember I said
but they asked you in advance.
I didn't know. I was brand new to this game. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go into this. You ever somebody says I'm gonna take you to a restaurant, and I'm like, I'm all right. Even if they're not gonna pay, I'm gonna pay for this thing I can actually afford, like $20 worth of stuff, whatever. And then they're like, let's split it, and now my $20 became $100. Does that make sense? That's a wide gap between the 20 and the 100. Like. That's something that's because of the entire group. And I didn't want to kind of like now mess up the vibe wall and be like, hey,
I only had this.
Yeah. That's I guess a social faux pas. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I learned at that point to never go into a situation like that ever again. That's something I don't do. And not because I can't do it, not because I can't spend the money, and I do it all the time. I buy random silly stuff off of Amazon all the damn time. But I can't literally put myself to just keep spending when I know that I'm from a group of people that never had more than 30K a year, right? That never made more than 30K a year. So why am I going on a luxury trip of 10 grand, like 10 grand luxury trip when I know for a fact my mom never made more than 30K? That's a third of her money right there. Why and to do what? And it's as if God is going to judge us based off the likes that we have on social media.
But it's not to say you can't enjoy traveling too.
No, I never said you can't enjoy it. I kept on saying you can enjoy it, but there has to be some level of dispersion as to how, how frequent you're doing this. And at the same time, are your people taken care of? That you're just flaunting this cash in front of everybody's face? Are you, are you taken care of? Do you have finances? Do you have retirement, in place? Do you have your investments are good? 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are risking it all because it just looks good and it feels good to be liked.
Okay, let's see.
Or because they just think that's the culture too. So it's like, oh, the culture told me to do so therefore I did.
Right. So I see it from like all the angles, especially for what Lovely said, because I'm always in the comments while watching the videos. I'm reading the comments as well, and it's coming to where it looks like that is the standard. When it comes to engagement ring, got to be no less than 30K, the one that you posted this morning. Ooh, so like
that's a no for me. Then I ain't getting married.
It has to be, he has to fly me out, or it has to be all these like really unrealistic, not practical things when we think about it too. But I don't want to eliminate the people who are enjoying the fruits of their labor. Like if you haven't been on vacation, I haven't been on vacation in a while, and I cannot wait for next year or end of this year to go somewhere internationally. Hopefully the pandemic will slow down a bit. But people who are really working hard on their finances and are taking a 1 or 2 vacations or domestic trips as much as they want. So I don't want to exclude those people out who are doing the work. It just, unfortunately, what we are seeing that is superseding those visuals is just the luxury of high expensive taste. And it's just disheartening to see where I'm reading comments and people just think this is the standard, this is the benchmark, right, for successful relationships or that sort of quote unquote energy of love goals or whatever. So I do see it on different perspectives and different takes, but
a lot of this reminds me of like the black, the Jack and Jill stuff, the black elitism. You can't sit with me, you can't sit with us. It's very exclusionary. And it's intentionally exclusionary. It's not saying that, hey, come to this, oh, you can have this experience, and guess what, guys, I paid this much, and therefore this, come to get this experience and whatnot. They're not really bringing people in. They're creating these things because it's very much, I'm different than you, in the sense of I have elevated myself. That's why I have Prada. That's how I have all these bags and stuff like that. Look at me, like me, adore me, because I am above your stature. And I'm not one, at least in the personal level, to ever be above anybody's stature. I'm not that kind of person on the inside.
I think, but LG, I think this
That's
been
why I said
going
on the inside.
I think it's been going on for whatnot. We just have social media to flaunt it now.
And that's why I mentioned the whole Jack and Jill. You ever heard of Jack and Jill thing?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. Well, it's I heard
it's basically in the South. Well, in a lot of like
Southern,
in the high, in the more high income, high earners type of scenarios of Black people, Black wealth. They've always had these little social groups in which, kind of like your country club, in which they position themselves so they could intermarry and all that stuff. It's pretty much the nobility all over again, creating a nobility class in which everybody else is beneath you. Everybody else is the peasantry, technically. They can't afford this. They can't afford to do it like this. They can't afford to. It's an exclusionary measure that literally tells other people that you ain't shit. And that's really what you're trying to convey to people. You're not saying that, and most of the reason they're conveying that is because that's how they felt growing up. When they watch maybe white people, Hispanic people, or Asian people, they watch other people and they felt that, hey, I want to have this experience so I could make other people feel as bad as I felt, which is the weirdest part. If you're doing this because in your heart of hearts, you love to travel, cool. If your heart of hearts, like you worked hard and you want to have like some downtime here and there, cool. In my opinion, you know what, in the end, like, it's all your money. You could do whatever you damn want, but it's a little bit troubling if you're not dealing with what's going on in your head. If you're not dealing with that, in your heart, in your head, in your soul, if you're not square with that, in the end of the day, it's all for naught for me.
Great.
Ooh, this was a spicy episode. Spicy. So I think definitely one of the biggest things that I think anyone can take away from this is to check yourself in terms of your spending. Ramit, he's a financial blogger, he has a whole whatever, and he always says to define your rich life. And my rich life and your rich life may not be the same thing. For me, it just might be able to send my kids to a really good school because that's really important to me. And for someone else, it might just be able to have good food quality. You have to define it based off your own true values and beliefs, rather than on what you think other people are going to check off for you. And it's really important that you have your own personal perspective and checking in with yourself to make sure that you're not just constantly doing things because you think it's the right thing to do, but this is what you really want to do. And I think in doing so, you live a better life. In doing so, you show up more consistent, more kind, more happy, because you are truly fulfilled. And I think we underestimate alignment in life of fulfillment, because you get to show up. You show up to your job differently, which means you might end up performing better, which might lead you to a better promotion, which might, increase your salary because of just how you're showing up to your life in general. So I say those things to say is, when we are settled within ourselves and we do what we do because we want to do them, life happens differently. But when we're constantly trying to gain approval or doing, whether it's traveling, whether it's buying an expensive car, whether it's doing these other things so other people can give us affirmation, we typically live a very sad and lonely life. That's my findings, and that's my final thoughts on this.
One thing we didn't talk about is some of these women, to be honest with you, they're just merely selling their body. And it's pretty much prostitution in a different light. You're literally buying your way through luxury through sex. And for us to deny that, it's, let me say it again. A lot of these women are merely prostituting themselves into wealth, or prostituting themselves into luxury. So a lot of times they're buying their way into these type of trips, into these type of outfits, these type of hotels, really to kind of make themselves look a certain way, but they're not necessarily telling people the truth about the way or the nature in which that they're performing this act, this form of entertainment for the audience.
I agree to that to a certain
See, I got
extent.
deep there. Pornography.
Again,
Like,
I can say I agree with that to a certain extent, but again, I don't know the context of the whoever is posting or sharing their experience. But there is some take on that of how people are affording these things, because you're sharing. Why not share everything, right? But I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my last take on that one. Woo, that was pretty.
That wasn't the last. That's a whole other episode about. Oh man, that was intense.
I just wanted to leave people with something a little hard hitting there. Like women are, well, a lot of people are prostituting themselves to get into positions of power.
Lauren said a lot. We're going to just put an asterisk some.
Well, I said a lot of people. I'm not saying specific amount. Like it says it's a lot. It could be more than 4. like that's all it is.
That's true.
A lot could be more than 10.
It's just unfortunate that when women try, when we dress sexy or something, it's all in terms of we're prostituting.
Whoa, that's a personal. You look at you internalize this one. I didn't
internalize.
Yeah, that was a personal stuff. I said a lot of people. You don't have to feel attacked. I know you're from Florida. You don't have to feel attacked.
But that's another thing, though. And here's the thing. It's your personal decision. If that's what you want to do, know what it comes with. And I think I'm going to go back to the consumer side, is that you have to realize, looking at someone's Instagram and seeing their lifestyle, it's up to them how they fund it. Some of them are working their butts off. They have great jobs, or they have great businesses, whatever you want to do it. But you don't have it goes back again to, you do not have full context. You don't have full context. And so sometimes we can see a post and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, but you don't know what the price person paid for this. You don't know where they got the funding to get this done. And so you're judging your own life based off of a narrative that you do not have full information for. Because you might be like, oh, people joke all the time, I might need to open OnlyFans because the way the life is set up for me, it might just be beneficial to do that. But then again, there's a cost to how that comes with that lifestyle, right? And you have to, your personal values, your personal belief systems, that's up to you. Personally, would I do something like that? No, that's just not where my value sets are. But again, you have to understand that when you see these things, you may not have full context. And we also have to be careful and mindful that you can't just say, because this person is living a lifestyle, this is how they're funding it. We really don't know. We really don't know.
I know. Thanks. Lovely.
I didn't say it was exactly how I said a lot of people are funding it this way. Doesn't mean every last one of them are. But there's a lot of people that's doing a lot of things we don't know nothing about. It's all in agreement here. It's all in agreement.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know you went to Florida, but hey, you don't have to be a Floridian. But just saying. These are, somebody said it, a smarter person said it, so therefore it is true. Florida people got problems.
Yeah, we're all here.
Well, with that being said, I think that comes to the end of this episode. We're out here trying to throw shade for no reason. Ultimately, I do want the best for everybody. Anybody I haven't seen, people are clicking on here, listening to this. I do want you to live the life that you definitely want to live, not the life that that you're struggling to live per se. It's just a life that you enjoy, a life of purpose, a life that gives you meaning and gives you balance and peace and comfort. And that's the life I'd want for anybody, like in my life, like kids, family, whoever. Just live the life that you feel like you want to live. Ultimately, you could find me at www.theneighborhoodfinanceguy.com talking all types of smack in writing, or you can find me on IG at the same hashtag title, the Neighborhood Finance Guy, the entire word all the way through, because we talk about financial literacy through the lens of stories, people, and really what matters to us. Anybody else?
I will say, just create your own rich life. Lovely mention about defining your rich life, but create your own rich life, however it may look to you, the things that you value, the things that you want. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and everyone can make sound judgment, but as long as you're happy with your life, and that's all that really matters. You can find moi, Alanta, on YouTube at Alanta's ALAINTA. Scroll over on Instagram, it's Alanta. ITS_Atlanta, ALAINTA. Again, make sure you guys subscribe and leave a comment what you guys think about Black luxury travel. We want to hear your thoughts, but thank you guys for tuning in.
Awesome. And I'm gonna just call Atlanta out. We're waiting for part 2. And this part 2 of whatever the video that needs a part 2. She understands what I just said. We're patiently waiting.
It's there. It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
Did you not share it?
No, I didn't. To be quite honest with you, I did not. But I will. It's there. It's been there over a week now. I know.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Financial Griot podcast. This is another great episode. You can find me at Lovely Merdelis. I'll put it in the show notes. Everything will forever be in the show notes. I'm not spelling it out for y'all. Atlanta loves y'all. It's Lovely Merdelis. Just find me there. Click on the show notes. Get active. I will see you guys. Well,
that's some Lawrence energy again. You see that? He's like,
we need to talk more so you can kind of leave that residue out.
You know, do not be me. You know what I'm saying?
Again, all the links are in the show notes. Be proactive. Click on them. Thank you again for listening to the Financial Griot. We are out.
TFG. Yo.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.